Live from Dallas-Fort Worth, this is WFAA News.
Today at 4, the aftermath of powerful storms moving through North Texas before dawn. Take a look at the wind blowing sheets of rain near 121 in Hebron and Carrollton. Those winds also knocking down trees and power lines across the area. Look at these power lines sparking in one of our viewers' backyards in Dallas. This storm left hundreds of thousands of you across North Texas without power this morning. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Morgan Young in for Jason Wheeler. This morning's storms woke us all up early and had many taking shelter. Once the sun was up, we got a better look at just how much damage that storm left behind across our area. The wind was strong enough to blow a small plane over at the Addison airport. We flew over it while it was still upside down, and thankfully there were no reports of any injuries. In Plano, we found this person trying to trim the tree limbs now on top of a house. It's one of a number of homes we spotted with damaged roofs and fences. The city is offering cooling stations at all libraries and rec centers for anyone without air or shelter. Meteorologist Kyle Roberts joins us now with more on what happened this morning and our next chance for storms.
Yeah, we do have another chance for storms tonight. And in fact, we got a few bubbling up out there at the moment, but I don't expect any of that activity to turn into especially anything like we saw last night and this morning. Could there be some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning here or there? Sure, but I don't. What happened last night and this morning all of a sudden just isn't going to happen across North Texas over the next couple hours. But there is a little bit of rain out there. What did happen last night is those storms blew up kind of around the Wichita Falls area about 3 a.m. and then it made a beeline down into North Texas and into the DFW area, packing quite the punch, obviously. Lots of strong wind with those storms in excess of 70 to 80 to 90 miles an hour. The Colony registered a wind gust of 95 miles an hour. That's as strong as an EF1 tornado. Double Oak hit 86, Denton hit 83, Valley Ranch hit 80, Arlington hit 77, widespread 70 plus miles an hour. DFW Airport, Little Elm 77, Lavon 76, Love Field hit 75, Saxe gusted to 73, and all of that wind definitely strong enough to down all those trees and power lines across the area as well, and that's why we're still dealing with the power outage issues. Here's a couple of those showers and storms bubbling up across the area, but once again, like I said, this isn't going to turn into last night, but you could have some brief rounds of heavy rain and a little bit of lightning as well with that activity. What we'll be watching is a round of storms that may try and enter western portions of North Texas late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Should be weakening as they do so, but as they move into the area, could still have a little wind and hail across the western portion of North Texas late tonight and into early tomorrow. For DFW, it's a pretty low severe weather threat. Any of that activity looks like it probably will be dying out as it tries to move into the North Texas area, but it's not impossible for a little wind and hail across the western portion of the area. And then we have multiple rounds of more rain headed our way this week. Let me talk the timing and what you can expect for the rest of the week coming up.
All right, Kyle, thank you. You know, the damage across North Texas is widespread, from trees and power lines down to serious structural damage, forcing people from their homes and businesses. Janelle Fort joins us live in an apartment complex in Richardson with a look at the damage there. Janelle?
Hey, Morgan. Yeah, we're in High Oaks East Apartments, where the 88 families who occupy the units here have been severely impacted by this morning's storms. I want to start by showing you some of the damage here. We're going to start right here. These look like they're concrete bricks. It looks a lot worse than it actually is, because these actually were decorative structures right here along the apartments. So decorative aspect of this, but on the aspect of the actual building, the biggest concern here is the roof up here. So those storms blew off large portions of the roof in this complex. Again, 88 units here, 88 families impacted by this. They've been asked to evacuate and leave because the complex is no longer livable. Earlier today, we talked to some of the residents here. We talked to one man who lived upstairs. He was in his apartment in his living room when something blew through the roof and the ceiling and into his apartment. He showed me photos of his apartment just covered in debris, covered in water, not much salvageable inside. And then we talked to another woman who lived on the first floor who didn't have any damage to her apartment, but told me about those scary moments. Take a listen.
Around 5:50 was when I heard the transformers kind of blowing up, and I heard the sirens. So I kind of just laid there, just trying to wait to see what happens. And that's when my sister came in, banging on the door, yelling, "Tornado, tornado!" And we just heard ruckus everywhere around us. So we rushed in the bathroom.
Now, it has been confirmed that a tornado hit this area. Right now, you're looking at some of the other neighborhoods that are nearby. As you can see, lots of large downed trees, just really showing the magnitude of the storm that tore through here this morning. A lot of cleanup efforts going on throughout this entire area as they deal with the aftermath of those just really, really, really strong winds, and as they brace for the potential for even more severe weather into the evening tonight. So again, lots of cleanup, really devastating for the families that live here at this complex, and we'll have to see what happens next. For now, reporting here in Richardson, I'm Janelle Ford. Back to you.
Janelle, thank you. And it's not just homes, also businesses. A Dallas hardware store was badly damaged by the strong wind this morning. The roof and part of a wall collapsed. Cleo Green takes us to Rainbow Hardware on Harry Hines near Walnut Hill.
You know, a lot of people have been driving by here on Harry Hines Boulevard to take pictures of this spot here. We're here at the Rainbow Hardware store. This spot has been open since about 2013, and the owners told me they've never experienced any sort of damage from a storm like this. Their entire roof just peeled off, and it's actually in layers. I can show you from what's on the ground here. You can see the shingles here with some nails. I wish I had my hard boots on. And then there's this foam board. It's very light and it's very dense here, but the wind, those straight line winds just cracked it. It's all across the parking lot, as you can see here. It's really a mess. And then if we go a little closer here, this is where you can see a lot of the damage. This is like a soft tarp that peeled off of the roof. As I said, it is in layers. Now, the owners, they let us inside. Here's what you can see. Not much. It's very dark. Here's what's left of the roof. It's wood, plywood, and it's drenched from all of the rain. You can actually see the sky in some areas. The entire floor of the store is covered with water from the rain, and we didn't walk around too much because it's wet and electricity is an issue. I got a chance to speak to Pooja Sati. She and her husband own this store, and she was actually driving to the store around 6 o'clock in the morning when it started to pour and those winds picked up. She said it was like something out of a movie.
This was the first scary experience I had ever, but I've seen in the movies. To be very honest, I've seen all this in the movies.
Now, Pooja and her husband told me they're in shock, right? They're still trying to process what exactly happened here. And their business, they're probably going to be out of business for a few months to recover. Not only do they have to rebuild the roof here, but they've got to rebuy all of the supplies that are inside of the store because they've been drenched, covered in water for hours now. I'll send it back to you.